could see, here I can contains a roast video about the points here we could mention. Well, Salam Habibi, how are you? I hope you are fine. It is me, Michaela Santa. I am here with you. According with titles, yes, today we are roasting Maulana Abu Toha Adnan in the points of toxic Wokism, and now here, according with the statement of Maulana Abu Toha Adnan, she wants to establish the Islamic education system. And now, in this keywords, today we are discussing the what is the difference between Islamic Afghan Medical Council exam versus NEET exam 2026. Okay. Now, first of all, so here we can see this moments. Here is the significant terms. Okay. Now, now let's check it. That it is the significant terms of the momentums. We do not need oxygens because your oxygen is not oxygen. Well, okay. Now let's check at the moments. Accordance with the statement of Maulana Abu Toha Adnans, here we can see some non-Muslim things that they did not like the Islamic rules in his country. But Maulana Abu Toha Adnan's statements, accordance with Maulana Abu Toha Adnan's promise, in Islamic rules, they would take care of non-Muslim at the first. Okay, now here we can see it is the first points at the moment. Well, here and now, what is the today's points? Here today's point is NEET exam 2026. We know that NEET exams is held in India, where Prime Minister is Narendra Modi. Okay. On the other hand, this is the map of Afghanistan accordance with which map? Accordance with Bing.com. I mean Microsoft Bing.coms. Now, Afghanistan is under Taliban rules, and here we can see. Well, here it is discussions about Afghan medical entry pathway. Here is Concord exam for university entrance, and now, well, here Afghanistan medical councils. Okay, and here we can discuss that what is the difference between here NEET 2026 versus Islamic Afghan Medical College. Now here is me as a moment stumps. Well, now let's come into the points. The biological physics questions. Okay. Now here we can see at the moment, well, here we could notify, here is the question syllabus. Here I contains and probable syllabus in lieu of the absolute syllabus. Okay. Now here we can see. Okay. Here the question syllabus would be here biophysics questions, 60 out of 180. Total marks is what? 240. Correct answer is for 4. Marks contains 4 marks and wrong answer would contains negative 1 marks. Okay, now let's check at the moments. Well, what is the biological physics questions? When a man requires 216,000 kilograms oxygen from, I think, okay, here I contains a mismatches. Questions I can write at the momentums. Okay, 384. 300. Okay, when a man requires 384,000 kilograms oxygen from here artificial photosynthesis reactions as an electric light presence, how much artificial solar arc reactor with the temperatures of triple six multiplied by 10 to the power triple six million triple six thousand triple six degrees Celsius requires? Okay, here is an options. Option A, that is here 5.47 multiplied by 10 to the power negative triple six million triple six thousand 661 kilograms. Second options. Here we can see that is the 7.29 multiplied by 10 to the power negative triple six million triple six thousand triple two kilograms. Third options here it is the moments. Option C, that is 8.88 multiplied by 10 to the power negative triple six million triple six thousand triple eight kilograms, and the option number D, that is 2.22 multiplied by 10 to the power negative triple two million triple two thousands triple two kilograms. Okay, now it is here biophysical chemistry at the moment. Now, in this points, here is the several simple questions that I would mention. That what is the difference between Hindu NEET aspirant versus Islamic Afghan medical council exams? Now, in Hindu NEET exams, the biological physics, what is the biological physics questions? Here, a man requires 384,000 kilograms oxygen from the artificial photosynthesis reactions and the electric light presenters. How much weight of artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 million 666 thousand 666 degrees Celsius requires? It is a simple question. But now, let's come to the points. What was the questions would be from Islamic Afghan Council, Islamic Afghanistan Medical Councils. Here the answer would be here when a man requires 380,000 kilograms oxygen from here photosynthesis reactions, then what would be the Islamic dua he would read? Option A, Allahumma la ilaha illa anta rahmatika astaghis. Option B, Taliban humma la ilaha illa anta rahmatika astaghis. Option C, here Kabul humma la ilaha illa anta rahmatika astaghis. या फिर ऑप्शन सी अफगान हुम्मा ला इलाहा इल्ला अंता रहमतिका अस्तगीस. Now it is a significant difference between Islamic Afghan Medical Council exam versus Hindu NEET exams. Okay. Now here is the clear-cut points that what about the Hindu NEET exams? We Afghan students are studying as an aspirants. Here we could see the here Hindu NEET exam is more scientific than Islamic Afghan Medical Council exams. And now that is the significant points. But here is an irony. Well, here I would mention the irony is the points. Well, in this momentum, in irony at the peaks here, Maulana Abu Toha Adnan records that she promised that if Islamic rules would be established on our country, that Islamic governments would protect non-Muslim students' rights. Okay. Now, why I am mentioning the Afghanistan? Because here we can see Afghanistan is the 100% Muslim countries, and here the Islamic Taliban rules the Afghanistan, where we know Taliban is an Afghanistan Islamic terrorist. Okay, let's come into the points about science and technologies. In this points, Islamic education system, how can we see the Islamic education system contains positive or negative effects on the Afghan students? Okay. Now here we can see this points. And Afghan students under Islamic governments is always studying here when we contains the 384,000 kilograms of oxygen from natural photosynthesis. Here what would we pray? Allahumma la ilaha illa anta rahmatika astaghith. It is the moment. But the same Afghan students would want to be a medical student of All Indian Institute of Medical Science. Hence, she would go to here Delhi to prepare the NEET exams. Here, what is the first questions of NEET exams related about photosynthesis? Questions to be biological physics. Here, the first question is, when a man's the first part of the question is, when a man required 384,000 kilograms oxygen from artificial photosynthesis reaction in the electric light presenters. Well, here the Afghan students say that now yes, I can answer the questions because probably I study it in Afghanistan's scientific schools. Here I can answer it. But the next part of question is that, what is the next part of questions? Here I would mention the moments. Okay. Now in this points, here we could see the next part of the question is, well, how much artificial solar arc reactor with temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666,666,666 degrees Celsius requires? It is the second part of the questions the Afghan girls students got. But what she reads on Afghan school, she read the second part is that what would be the Islamic dua she would read. But in theirs, the second part is how much artificial solar arc reactor with the temperatures of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666,666,000 666 degrees Celsius records. And in these cases, here we could see this is the momentums at the points. Well, now it is cases in the momentums. Here, the Afghan girls students named Michaela has been tells that well, oh my Adonais. Here, what I am reading in Afghan scientific schools and what I am attending in NEET Afghan 2026. Because here we can see, well, Islam is a beautiful religion, but in these cases, well, here NEET, the photosynthesis reaction is the proper biological physics questions. In lieu of here physics course is not like an Islamic Dua course. Physics course is always physics course and it is the proper physics course. And here physics course is just about the knowledge to discuss the relations between energy and materials. And now, as in biological physics questions, here it is the relations between here energy and the fuels to produce the oxygen in the process of photosynthesis, where light sources artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 million degrees Celsius, and the chemical reaction is the simply biological. And now here we can see these points. Now the Afghan girls cannot answer any options from these questions, and it is the significance of the fraction points. Okay. Now the same Afghan Muslim girl Michaela attends the NEET exams, but the difference is that when she got the science streams, she shipped herself to the Indian school from the Islamic Afghanistan school, because she knows that in Islamic Afghanistan we cannot study biology properly. And now here we can see these points. Well, as an Afghan Muslim girl, she can read here what is the biological physics, what she can read the discussions of botanical physics. Okay, because here artificial solar arc reactors as a fuel in photosynthesis reaction is the pure botanical physics. And here we can see this point. She knows now the Afghan students Michaela to study in Indian school can know that what is the botanical physics. Now, when the question is here, when a man requires 384,000 kilograms of oxygen from photosynthesis reaction in electric light presence, how much artificial solar arc reactor with a temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666,666,666 degrees Celsius requires? In that case, says, well, the Afghan students Michaela to study in Indian schools know that here we can photosynthesis refers in this case to generate 384,000 kilograms of oxygen We requires almost 360 kilograms of waters and here 528 kilograms of carbon dioxide to generate here 384 kilograms of oxygen. The Afghan students to study in Indian schools know that here five, when a 528,000 kilograms carbon dioxide react to 360,000 kilograms of water in the presence of light, I mean where light is can be and from the artificial source in artificial photosynthesis reactions. Here we could see this is the significant terms. What and now here what is the glucose here? It is glucose here 12 multiplied by 6 is 72. 108 sum by 72 is 180. Yes. Here 360 kilograms of glucose, I mean 360,000 kilograms of glucose and 384,000 kilograms of oxygen would be always ready. In these cases, here, what is the preparations of joules? How much joules would be energies would be required? Here, the energies would be required as in 5.606 multiplied by 10 to the power 12 joules. And here, now what is the calculation? The calculation is clear. 5.606 multiplied by 10 to the power 12 joules divided by bracket of specific heat of artificial solar arc reactor with a temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 millions, 666,000, 666 degrees Celsius multiplied by temperature of the artificial solar arc reactor bracket close. Temperatures we know, and now specific heat is 15,408 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. And now, hence the weight of artificial solar arc reactor is regarded as an 5.47 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 666,666,661 kilograms. And now, that is the this is the correct answer to find the process to find a correct answer. The Afghan students, Michaela, in Indian school, no. Well, now irony is that here I, Michaela Caesar de Santa, is an Afghan Muslim, but still here I know the photosynthesis process and as a botanical physics. Yes, here I know the results, and here I can answer it. This level of education can be provided to me in Hindu NEET exams, not Islamic Afghan Medical Council exams. Okay. Now here we can see these points, but Maulana Abu Toha Adnan states, what is the Maulana Abu Toha Adnan states? Okay. Now here we can see these points. Maulana Abu Toha Adnan states that here if Islamic rules would be established in Afghan, here non-Muslim Afghan rights would be preserved. But actually here the 100% of population of Afghanistan is Muslim. But here we Muslim Afghan students who want to be scientific, our right is not preserved in Islamic education system in Afghanistan, like an Islamic Afghan Council exams. That is the moment at the points. Okay, now let's check it. Here we can see this momentums. Well, now it is the 60. Say hi, Salam. How are you? Now here we can see that is the 60 questions out of 180 question to be here. Botanical biologists. I mean, botanical physics. We can state that here biological physics. Okay. Now here we can see but exam correct answer contains 4 marks and wrong answers contains negative 1 marks. Okay. Now if I Afghan students studying in Afghanistan and attend the exam in NEET, now what is my performance in these cases? Okay, now let's check at the moments. Here is 60. Now you can see this points 0 correct answers and 60 wrong. 60 biological wrong answers out of 60 biological physics questions. Okay. Now let's check it. What can I score? Here. Oh my god. Now let's check it the moments. Here I can score negative 60 out of positive 240, where positive 240 is biological physics questions. Now what about 180, where the entire question number is 180 totals. Now here we can see as an Afghan student study in Afghanistan, we can score negative 600, negative 60 out of positive 720. What is the cause? Here the cause is that here I can not understand that what is the matters of artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 million, 666,000, 666 degrees Celsius on the artificial photosynthesis. But when I an Afghan students, Michaela, studying in Indian schools, what can I answer the NEET aspirants? In this cases, in that points, now here we can see these moments. Well, I can answer 60 biological and correct answers out of 60 biological physics questions and 0 wrong answers out of 60 biological correct questions. And now let's check it. What is my answers? Here my answer is 240 out of 720. Positive 240 out of positive 720. Okay. Now in these cases at the momentums, here we could see. Now let's find out. And here we can notice first here in Muslim is always in general caste category, and in India here it is the partially unfortunate that here general caste category is always unfair for Hindu general categories, but the exam would be fair for Islamic general categories. Okay. Now let's check it. Islamic general categories, girls aspirants, Afghan girls aspirants of NEET aspirant exams, as the general category's lowest mark is 300 out of 720. I mean 300 marks in 180 questions. Okay. Now here we can discuss about the biological physics question, that would be 60. In these cases, the lowest categories of Afghan girls aspirants as the lowest cutoff would be 100 marks out of 60 questions. I mean 100 marks out of 240 in this the momentum at the points. Huh? And now here is this turns at the journeys at the points. Now let's check it. When a Afghan girl's aspirant Michaela can be studied in Indian school to attend NEET exams to become a medical students of All Indian Institute of Medical Science. Here she contains almost 60 correct answers out of 60 biological physics questions in NEET 2026. And what is her score? Here her score is okay. Now here NEET exam 2026, here the girls aspirants as an Afghan Michaela scored 240 out of 240s, where 2.4 times more marks than the lower cutoff of the Afghan girls aspirants of NEET 2026. Now let's check is what is the highest discussions. And now here we can see the highest cutoff is 350 out of 720. Okay. Now what is 350 divided by 3? Here that is the momentums, because 720 divided by 3 is 240, right? And now here we can take the moments. It would be clear that 120 is the highest cutoff for Afghan Muslim girls aspirant in NEET 2026 out of 240 marks. Okay. Now, Afghan girls college and Afghan girls students to be aspirant in NEET 2026 to study in Indian schools can get the numbers to be almost double of the highest cutoff of NEET 2026 for Afghan categories, where and that is the significant achievements at the moment comes. But on the other hand, here that is the moment, and Afghan medicals and Afghan science schools, the Afghan girls can studies, and now she want to be an aspirant of NEET 2026 and Islamic Afghan Medical Council exam 2026. And here we can see here is the beautiful points. The girls aspirant, Afghan girls aspirant in the study in Afghan schools can score 240 out of 240 in and only in Afghan Islamic Afghan Medical Council exams. But at the same time, negative 60 out of positive 240 is the achieved score for the Afghan girls aspirant studying in Afghan school to be aspirant in NEET 2026. That is the significant points at the moment. Well, we, what is the cause here? The basic of the biological physics, particularly basic of the botanical physics, is disturbed difference between Islamic Afghan medical councils versus Hindu NEET. And now that is the significant momentum at the points. But here in these cases, let's check the populations. Well, I have no heads to Afghanistan. Here we contest the several Afghan boys aspirants in NEET 2026. We can contest several meritorious girls aspirants from Afghanistan in NEET 2026. Okay, and now let's check at the moments. What is the significant points? Population of Afghanistan. Okay. Now, populations of Afghanistan is 49.47 million. Round figure, we can say this 50 million Afghan live in Afghanistan. And all of 50 million Afghans are Muslims. But here, Afghan Muslims could not get the proper educations in where? In Afghanistan to be aspirant in NEET 2026 to become All Indian Institute of Medical Science. And now that is the significant negative effects we can notice. Okay. Now here I can mention the points. Here we can mention about the biochemistry syllabus. Okay. Now let's coming to the biochemistry syllabus. Okay. Now I think here it would be the significance points at the notifies. Yes. Now here we can see. Now here is the biochemistry syllabus. Okay. The biochemistry syllabus is here. Question is 60 out of 180. Total marks is 240. Correct answer contains 4 marks. Wrong answers contains negative 1s. Okay. Now here we can see that is the momentums at the points. Now let's check it. Here is the questions. When a man requires 768,000 kilograms of oxygen from photosynthesis reactions in light presence, here how much hydroxide negative ion requires? Okay. Now here we can see is the moments. Now let's hide the options. Okay. Option A, that is 208,000 kilograms. Option B, that is 409,000 kilograms. Option C, that is 408,000 kilograms. And option D, that is 407,000 kilograms. Okay. Now here we can see these points. In these cases, well, now what's the points? We can see these moments. Here we contains here biological physics questions and biological chemistry questions. And now, an Afghan students study in Afghan school to become an girls aspirant in NEET exam 2026 can score 60 biological wrong answers out of 60 biological chemistry questions in 120 questions both from biological chemistry and biological physics in NEET exam 2026. And what is the score? In that cases, here score would be negative 60 out of positive 480. Okay. Now, in this cases, as a total momentums, well, in totally, here the Afghan students, Afghan girls aspirant in NEET exam 2026 from Afghanistan school can attend negative 120 wrong answers out of 120 questions both from biological chemistry and biological physics. Here what would be the answers? Okay, in this cases the answer would be negative 120 out of positive 480. Okay, now I think so. Let's coming to the point about schedule cost. 138 divided by 3 multiplied by 2 is almost 92. Okay, now here is the momentums as the cases. Well, here I want to mention significantly here. Now, when Afghan students can score well, 120 biological wrong answers out of 120 questions both from biological chemistry and biological physics in NEET 26. Here she scores here negative 120 out of positive 480 when from 120 questions. And in these cases, what is the question patterns? In the cases, the question patterns we could see. Well, let me take a breath. Well, here, schedule cost category lowest cutoff is 92 out of 480. Positive 92 out of positive 480. Where the Afghan girls students to be girls aspirant in NEET exam 2026 from Afghan school can attend here 120 wrong answers. Hence her achieved score is negative 120 out of positive 480. That means here it will be clear cut the moments. She scored the 212 marks less than the lower cutoff of schedule cost to be 92 out of 480. And now, in this cases, the momentums, that is the significant journeys. Here, The Afghan girls aspirants in medical exam can be the medical students in the Kabul Medical College, I mean Afghanistan National Medical College, but she cannot be eligible to be medical students in any normal governmental medical college in India. Okay, now here we can see this point. How is it possible? Here I would mention at the moment. Okay. Now here we can see this points here. Photosynthesis and the reactions of photosynthesis. Here how much weight of hydroxide negative ion requires. Okay. As in biochemistry, here we can see this is the water contains two ions, hydrogen positive ions and hydroxide negative ions. In this cases, here we can see, well, we record from here. Now let me take a breath. Well, what about 108 multiplied by 4? That is 8 multiplied by 4 is 48, and here 2 multiplied by 102 multiplied by here. Now I I cannot say anything, but let me say the parts. 102 sum by 6 is 108. Here 2 multiplied by 8 is 16. Now 48 subtract by 16 is always 32. Yes? And now here we can see hydrogen positive ion is requires 32,000 kilograms and 408 I apologize. Here we can see 40,000 kilograms of hydrogen ion and 408 kilograms of hydroxide ion is requires that we can ensure that we can get an 768,000 kilograms of oxygen, and it is the clarified points. Well, now as an Afghan student studying in Indian schools, we know what is the basic chemistry. Now here we can see now what is the basic chemistry at the moment. In that cases, we can know here when the point about the photosynthesis. Now, as an ionic photosynthesis reactions, here we can see these moments. Well, 6 mole carbon positive ion, 12 mole oxygen negative ions, sum by here 6 mole hydrogen positive ions and 6 mole hydroxide negative ions. In this cases, we could not notice that. Now, that can generate here, well, 6 moles here neutral carbon ions here, and here 4 12 moles, I apologize, 6 moles oxygen positive ions and 6 moles negative carbon dioxide, I apologize, hydroxide negative ions, and we can get here neutral 12 neutral oxygen ions. In these cases, and rest we know what's the matters. And here we know the photosynthesis reactions as an ionic reaction in Indian schools. Well, hence when a Afghan girls aspirant Michaela in NEET 2026 can encounter the answer that when a man requires 768,000 kilograms of oxygen from photosynthesis reactions in light presence, that how much hydroxide negative ion requires. Here answer is clear, 408,000 kilograms. And this is the simple points studies. But in Islamic Afghanistan, what is the studies at the moment? In Afghanistan, we study is here when Maulana, when we can contain 768,000 kilograms of oxygen from photosynthesis reactions, then what is the words we have to reach? Where correct answer in Afghanistan medical councils, here correct answer would be here 10 times Surah Fatiha, 20 times Surah Ikhlas, 20 times Durud Sharif. That's it. Well, Islam is a beautiful religion, but now in the other cases, when a girl's aspirants in Islamic Afghan Medical Council exams is attending the exams to enter the Afghanistan National Medical College, well, she could not contest any biological scientific knowledge in these cases. But on the other hand, particularly biochemical knowledge, she could not get. But in India, that is a Hindu country, as Afghan girls aspirants of Hindu NEET exam 2026, she knows the knowledge, where knowledge is here the biochemical ionic reactions concept would be clear for the Afghan girls aspirant of Hindu NEET 2026 kids. And now this is the clear the points. But let's come to the points about the ironies. What is the irony? The irony is Maulana Toha Adnan states that, well, Jewish Afghan girls students study right would be preserved in Islamic Afghanistan. But what is the reality? Now, the reality is none of 50 million Afghan aspirants can answer the proper questions, where the proper biological chemistry question is what is required, how much weight is required to be hydroxide ions, where we want 768,000 kilograms oxygen from photosynthesis reactions. Now, well, it is every point is the photo and the synthesis at the moment. Well, here in these cases, in Islamic Afghanistan, Muslim students' scientific study rights is not preserved. Then my question is, here I want to show her, well, the question is how Maulana Abu Toha Adnan can states that she want to provide promise a Jewish Afghan study rights preserved in Islamic Afghan rules, where Muslim Afghan girls student in Afghanistan cannot question a proper biological chemistry questions. Okay. Now here we can see. Let's coming out with the points. Okay. Now let's check it. Well, here is the complete biological questions. What is the hemoglobin levels of healthy man and healthy women? Option A. Here, man 50 grams to 50 grams per liters to 18 grams per liters. I mean 15 grams per liters to 18 grams per liters. Women's 3 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 9 nanogram per liter to 5 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 9 nanogram per liters. Option B. Okay. Man 15 gram per liters to 18 gram per liters. Women 0.003 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 81 picogram per liter to 0.005 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 81 picogram per liters. Okay. Option C. Here man 12 gram per liters to 14 gram per liters. Women 9 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 9 nanogram per liters to 12 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 9 nanogram per liters. Option D. Man 15 gram per liters to 18 gram per liters. Women 11 gram per liters to 16 gram per liters. And now here we can see what is the hypocrisy of Islamic education system provided by Maulana Abu Toha Adnan to Muslim Afghan girls aspirant. Okay. Of the medical exams. Well, now it is clear cut points, and now we can see our significant moments is too dangerous as we could notify where the momentum point to be noticed here in Afghanistan. Well, we know the hemoglobin levels of healthy men and healthy women to be man 15 gram per liters to women, man 15 gram per liters to 18 gram per liters, women 11 gram per liters to 16 gram per liters. That is the correct answers in Afghan Medical Council exams. If and only if Afghan medicals girls aspirants of Afghan Medical Council's exam 2026 can attend here. But if Afghan girls is the girls aspirants of NEET 2026, here what is the correct answer? The correct answer is the hemoglobin levels of healthy men and healthy women would be here man 15 gram per liters to 18 gram per liters, women 0.003 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 81 picogram per liters to 0.005 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 81 picogram per liters. Now in this cases the moments, what would be happens in the points? Here we can see that is the clarified points at the moments. Well, 31 would be mathematicals and 30 would be proper biologicals. Okay. Now here we can see the moments the uh, Afghan girls aspirants, I mean Afghan girls students in Islamic Afghan school performance would be significant at the moment. Well, here question. Now let's check it. Question is 150. Okay. Now in this cases, that is the significant points. Afghan girls aspirants. Okay. Afghan girls aspirants in Afghanistan schools to be aspirant of Islamic Afghan uh, medical council exams. Here her score would be 150 correct answers out of 150 questions. What would be the scores? That is 600 out of 600. Well, it is only in Islamic Afghan medical uh, council exam. But what in NEET? Here we can see the the answers of 150 as correct in Islamic Afghan medical council exams is wrong answer in NEET. Here, what is the scores? In NEET, score is negative 150 out of 600. And here, we are talking about words. Okay. Now here we can see, we can talk about the Islamic girls aspirants. I mean, it is the points about Afghan girls aspirants. That is in starting in Afghan school. But what if the here Afghan school girls aspirant would be starting in Indian schools? Here in Islamic Afghan medical council exams, her score is would be negative 150 out of positive 600. But in NEET, her score would be positive 600 out of positive 600. Okay. Now here we can see that is the moments. With the knowledgeable, with the scientific knowledge, I mean biological scientific knowledge, and Afghan girls students cannot be medical student in any Afghan medical college, but in India she can be a medical student of All Indian Institute of Medical Science. And now, what is the points? Here we can see this the biological scientific knowledge is not allowed in Islamic Afghan Medical Council exam, but the biological scientific answer is allowed in Hindu NEET. Well, where the aspirant is one, Afghan girls aspirant. But here we can see this moments, out of 50 million Afghan, 5 million Afghan would be aspirant of Islamic Afghan Medical Council exams or Hindu NEET exams. Now in these cases, here we can see Hindu NEET. Now here we can see that is here Islamic education system in Afghanistan cannot just be justified with an biological scientific Afghan students, I mean Afghan students of scientific biology. Hence, what is the irony is that Maulana Abu Toha Adnan promised us that here Islamic educational system would be justified to preserve the Jewish Afghan rights, where it is not and it is not good in Muslim Afghan students, where Muslim Afghan students want to receive an biological scientific knowledge. Now let's check it. That is the significant points as we could notify. And here we could see the rest of well, the reels is 1 minute 19. Yes, 1 minute 31 seconds. It is the reels. And now I hope the rest of the questions here we could see the rest of the answers would be just thing like politicals at the moment. And here, what is the significant political movements that can be here dangerous? We could notify. Okay, and now here is the points I have mentioned, and now I think I would mention an announcement here where my announcement is tomorrow I would conduct a live streams to roast Maulana Abuda Adnan's seminar reels, but where topic would be as beautiful topics, where topic is here Iranian medical girls aspirant versus girls aspirant in NEET. Okay. Now see you then. Khuda Hafiz. Love you.